The hour of convening having arrived, all members of the House will please report to the floor and take seats. All members of the House will please report to the floor and take your seats. The clerk will ring the bell. All members will report to the floor of the House. We are going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Well, good morning. Hope everyone had a nice weekend. What a beautiful weekend, huh? We will begin our day today with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 126th House District, Representative Gloria Frazier. Representative Frazier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. It is an honor and a privilege to have with us today one of my pastors from Burke County, Pastor Howard Harden from the Spring Grove Missionary Baptist Church. It is so nice to have here with us his beautiful wife, Miss Shirley Harden. Would you please stand to be recognized? He also brought with him his sister Mary Parker and his daughter Benita Wiley. Would you all please stand and be recognized? Thank you all so much. And I am truly honored to have about 35 to 40 members from Spring Grove Missionary Baptist Church in the galleries that came all the way to Atlanta here to support their pastor, Pastor Harden. Spring Grove, please. Let's recognize Spring Grove. Thank you. Thank you all. Reverend Howard Harden is a native and resident of Burke County. He's the 8th of 10 children, and he learned the value of family at an early age. He was educated in the Burke County school system, after which he enlisted and served 3 years in the United States Army. Military service instilled in him a love for his brothers and sisters in arms and a fierce sense of honor for his country. He was employed as an iron worker, local union number 709, for more than 30 years until his retirement in 2008. He's a faithful husband, father, and family man. And if you ever get the opportunity to go to Spring Grove Missionary Baptist Church in Burke County, you will see the family unity there. They love the children, they help educate them, and it is an honor to always go and visit Spring Grove. He began as an assistant pastor at Spring Grove in 1989 and became the pastor in 1992. His love for his family, his love for his church, put his first love is God. So please, let's welcome Pastor Howard Harden to give our word of the day.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members of the House, to my family, and to all that makes up this assembly. I am humbled to be chosen to do such an honor, and I want to say thank you. We are indeed grateful to be here today, and I'm humbled to have been chosen. Amen. I don't know how many times I passed and saw the Golden Dome on this building, but I never dreamed I would set foot inside. But look at God. I want to thank Ms. Frazier, our state representative, for all of her hard work and her efforts to make this possible. And a special thanks to our former mayor, the late Ms. Emma Gresham, for planting the idea in her mind. Ms. Gresham had a way of making you feel like you could do anything she asked of you. She was an encourager, and to her I give thanks. So I'm here hopefully today to encourage you with the word that is found in Genesis chapter number 39, verse number 21a. 5 simple words that simply say, but God was with Joseph. And with these words, I want to use for my subject and thought for today, God be with you. Please excuse me if I tend to get a little loud. I'm from Burke County, and I don't mean Waynesboro. I'm glad to be from where I am, and I don't apologize for that. So here we go. You may start your clock. As the story goes, Joseph, being the 11th son of Jacob, they were all shepherds. And Joseph's 10 older brothers, they was kind of mischievous. Amen. And Joseph, at one occasion, he went back home and he kind of told on his brothers, gave them a bad report. And for that, they didn't take too kindly to their little brother. So one day, as the brothers was out in the field grazing their sheep, his father told him, said, Joseph, I want you to go down and I want you to go and check on your brothers, make sure everything is well, and bring me back a report. Well, as Joseph went down to Shechem to check on his brothers, the scripture says that from a great distance off, they saw their little brother coming, and they said, here come that dreamer. Let us kill him, and then let's see what will happen to his dreams. So as Joseph got closer, his brother Reuben said, he is our brother, and we don't need his blood on our hand. Why don't we just throw him in a pit with no water in it? And later on, as Joseph approached, they took Joseph and they stripped him of his beautiful coat. They threw him in a pit, and the Bible said then they sat down and they had lunch. Can you imagine that? What a cruel thing to do to their little brother. Amen. And then they took his coat, and after they had finished eating lunch, immediately after they finished having lunch, the scriptures teaches us that along come a caravan of Ishmaelites going down to Egypt to trade their goods. And the Bible says, Judah, their brother, said, it doesn't profit us a thing to destroy our brother. So why don't we just sell him? So they sold their little brother Joseph to this band of Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And then they concocted a lie that they would tell their father that a wild, vicious animal apparently had killed Joseph. What a cruel thing to do to their little brother, not to mention to their father. And it seemed to be an easy thing for some people to do you wrong and forget about it. But to the one whom was wrong, they would never forget you for it. So Joseph's brothers, they sold his little brother, and they forgot all about Joseph. But here's the point. Someone can do you wrong and forget, but to the one that has been done the wrong to, they never forget. Joseph had no idea Amen, what he would suffer in order to get to the place where his dream or where God would have him be. Joseph was a dreamer. Amen. He had no idea, amen, that he would suffer the loss of his beautiful coat. He had no idea that he would suffer being separated from his family and loved ones. He had no idea that he would go from being thrown into a pit to being falsely accused before his master and then being thrown into prison. Joseph had no idea. Amen. He endured being thrown in a pit, sold into slavery, falsely convicted, and thrown into prison. Joseph had no administrative skills. At the tender age of 17, all he knew was to be true to his God and true to his conviction. It was from his experiences that he learned how to manage people. It was from his experience in prison that he learned how to run institutions. Joseph didn't know it then, but it was while he was there in prison that God was preparing him for his role in the palace. Here's the message to you, ladies and gentlemen. Be faithful. Stay humble and submissive to the will of God, and he will exalt you in due time. Don't waste precious time about thinking about those who don't like you. Don't worry about the obstacles that people place in your way or the odds that are stacked against you. But give thanks to God even for the adversities that you must face. Know this, that if God be for you, who can be against you? God is able to make your enemies to be your footstool. He has a way of making those who don't like you bless you. Yes, God, our God, will make those impossible dreams become possible. You will succeed even when the odds are stacked against you. And your adversaries or your adversities are nothing but blessings in disguise. It took Joseph a little over 20 years to rise up from the bottom to the top. But he made it because God was with him. He refused to give in to temptation. He held on to his dignity, and he would not compromise his integrity. And when he reached his destiny, when he became the man he dreamed he would be, he realized it was only because God was with him. Yes. 20 plus years later, his brothers came to him, but notice they did not recognize him. 20 plus years had passed since he had seen his brothers, and 20 plus years had their brothers seen him. They didn't recognize him. But guess what? He recognized them. He recognized each one of them, from the eldest to the youngest. Yes, and eventually, after playing mind games with his brothers, after getting even with them for the way they had mistreated him, he played tricks on their mind, and after a while, he eventually revealed himself to them. He said to them, I am Joseph. I am your brother. I am the one that you sold. Now, he said, don't be disheartened. I know what you did to me, you meant it for evil. But God turned it around for my good. Yes. So Joseph said, so I forgive you. I forgive you. Amen. So he said, now what I want you to do, I want you to go back home. And I want you to get my daddy. And I want you to get all those with him. Here's my message to you today, my brothers and sisters. Amen. You too will succeed. Your dreams will come true. You will overcome the adversaries, and your adversities will be a blessing to you. My mama used to say, son, what don't kill you will only make you strong. So hold your heads up. Look to the hills from whence cometh your help. And know that all of your help comes from the Lord. Amen. Will you play with me, please? Our Father, who art in heaven. Lord, I thank you for this privilege and this opportunity to be here today. to be able to address this body. I pray that our coming together would not be in vain. Continue to be with these thy servants as they do your bidding. Father, keep them mindful that they are not here to serve themselves, but those that elected them and voted them into office. May they never forget that they were chosen and selected because of their character, not because of their skills and abilities, nor because of their educational background, but because you, Lord, favored them and allowed it to be so. So, Father, I pray that you will be with them, to keep them, protect them, provide for them, and empower them, and prosper them in every way. Father, we are grateful to you. We praise you. We bless your holy name. And if I could ask but one request, it would be, give us more love in our hearts toward one another. Oh, what a wonderful world this would be if we just showed more love one toward the other. Please hear our prayer and grant us our requests. In Jesus' name I pray. Thank you, Father. Amen. Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You hit some good stuff there, brother. Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. The chair recognizes Chairman Darlene Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits have read the proceedings of the previous legislative day and found them to be correct.
Chairman Taylor, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, 159th, moves the following be establishes the order of business under first part of the period unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions, first reading and reference of House bills and resolutions, second reading of bills and resolutions, reports of standing committees, third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions, first reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions, morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 662 by Representative Benton of the 31st bill being titled Act to Amend Chapter 3, Title 47, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the teachers' retirement system of Georgia.
Retirement.
House Bill 663 by Representative Estration of the 104th and Fleming of the 121st. Bill being titled Act to Amend Chapter 23, Title 47, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Georgia judicial retirement system.
Retirement.
House Bill 664 by Representative Fleming of the 121st, Powell 171st, Trammell 132nd, Kelly the 16th, Abstration of the 104th, and others. Bill being titled Act to Amend Chapter 23, Title 47, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Georgia judicial retirement system.
Retirement.
House Bill 665 by Representative Knight of the 130th and Holly of the 111th. Bill being titled an act to provide for the creation of one or more community improvement districts in the city of Locust Grove.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 666 by Representative Dollar, the 45th, Powell, the 32nd, and Harrell, the 106th. Bill being titled an act to amend Chapter 34, Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to physicians.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 667 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Powell of the 171st, Jaspers of the 11th, and Harrell of the 106th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 3, Title 47, the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the teachers' retirement system in Georgia.
Retirement.
House Resolution 645 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Henson of the 86th, Stevenson of the 90th, Mitchell of the 88th, Shannon of the 84th, and others. A resolution urging the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority.
Transportation.
House Resolution 646 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th, Cooper of the 43rd, Newton the 123rd, Jackson the 128th, Tankersley the 160th. A resolution encouraging the Georgia legislature to broaden eligibility.
Health and Human Services.
House Resolution 647 by Representative Schofield of the 60th, Anulowitz of the 42nd, Buckner of the 137th, Jones of the 47th, Hughley of the 136th. A resolution creating a House Committee on addressing period or menstruation poverty girls and in elementary, middle, and high schools.
Health and Human Services.
House Resolution 648 by Representative Sessler of the 35th, Scoggins of the 14th, Gamble of the 15th, Williams of the 145th. A resolution to bring awareness to vaccine injury.
Health and Human Services.
Senate Bill 230 by Senator Henson, the 41st, Harrell of the 40th. The bill being entitled an act to create the city of Tucker.
Intergovernmental coordination.
Senate Bill 246 by Senator Henson, the 41st, Butler of the 55th, and Jones of the 10th. Bill being entitled an act to amend an act to provide for the DeKalb County Board of Registration and Elections.
Intergovernmental coordination.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 641 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, Hitchens of the 161st, Powell of the 32nd, Welch of the 110th, Fleming of the 121st, a bill relating to general provisions regarding the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. House Bill 642 by Representative Pullen of the 131st, a bill to provide a new charter for the city of Zebulon. House Bill 643 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Gamble of the 15th, and Kelly of the 16th, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from Bartow County School District ad valorem taxes. House Bill 644 by Representative Hitchens of the 161st, a bill to amend an act to provide a new charter for the city of Pooler. House Bill 645 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Holcomb of the 81st, and Oliver of the 82nd, a bill to amend an act to incorporate the city of Brookhaven into DeKalb County. House Bill 646 by Representative Belton of the 112th, Welch of the 110th, Rutledge of the 109th, and Dickerson of the 113th, a bill to amend an act to incorporate and to grant a new charter to the city of Covington. House Bill 647 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Holcomb of the 81st, and Oliver of the 82nd, a bill to amend an act to incorporate the city of Brookhaven into DeKalb County. House Bill 648 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, a bill to provide a new charter for the city of White. House Bill 649 by Representative Dubnick of the 29th, Donahue of the 30th, Hawkins of the 27th, and Barr of the 103rd, a bill to authorize the governing authority of the city of Gainesville to levy an excise tax. House Bill 650 by Representative Dubnick of the 29th, Donahue of the 30th, Hawkins of the 27th, and Barr of the 103rd, a bill to amend an act to provide a new charter for the city of Gainesville. House Bill 651 by Representative Dubnick of the 29th, Donahue of the 30th, Hawkins of the 27th, and Barr of the 103rd, a bill to amend an act creating the Gainesville Redevelopment Authority. House Bill 652 by Representative Williams of the 148th, Powell of the 32nd, Hogan of the 179th, Smith of the 70th, LaHood of the 175th, and others. A bill relating to the Sheriff's Retirement Fund of Georgia. House Bill 653 by Representative Williams of the 168th and Hitchens of the 161st. A bill to repeal an act creating the joint Liberty County, City of Gum Branch, City of Midway, City of Riceboro, and City of Walterville Fire Protection Facilities and Equipment Authority. House Bill 654 by Representative Glanton of the 75th, Douglas of the 78th, Burnell of the 77th, Stovall of the 74th, Bazemore of the 63rd, and others. A bill to amend an act to provide a new charter for the city of Jonesboro. House Bill 655 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th, Gamble of the 15th, Kelly of the 16th. A bill to provide a homestead exemption from Bartow County School ad valorem taxes. House Bill 656 by Representative Jackson of the 64th, Beasley Teague of the 65th, Gardner of the 57th, Dreyer of the 59th, McLaren of the 51st, and others. A bill to amend an act to create a Board of Elections and Registration for Fulton County. House Bill 657 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Hitchens of the 161st, Gordon of the 163rd. A bill to authorize the city of Richmond Hill to exercise all redevelopment and other powers under the Redevelopment Powers Law. House Bill 658 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, Gilliard of the 162nd, Gordon of the 163rd. A bill to amend the several acts relating to and incorporating the mayor and aldermen of the city of Savannah. House Bill 659 by Representative Kelly of the 16th, Trammell of the 132nd, Fleming of the 121st, Welch of the 110th, Wilson of the 80th, and others. A bill relating to judges of the Supreme Court, judges of the Court of Appeals, and their employees. House Bill 660 by Representative Clark of the 98th. A bill relating to continuances relative to civil practice and procedure and continuances relative to trial. House Bill 661 by Representative Marin of the 96th. Moore of the 95th, Clark of the 108th, McLeod of the 105th, McLean of the 100th, and others. A bill to amend an act creating a new charter for the city of Norcross. House Bill 668 by Representative Paris of the 142nd, Beverly of the 143rd, Mathis of the 144th, and Dickey of the 140th. A bill to authorize the governing authority of Macon-Bibb County to levy an excise tax. House Resolution 585 by Representative Gilliard of the 162nd, Holcomb of the 81st, Hill of the 3rd, Williams of the 148th, Allen of the 40th. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Gang and Youth Violence Prevention. House Resolution 586 by Representative Gordon of the 163rd, Mitchell of the 88th, Hawley of the 111th, Schofield of the 60th, McLaren of the 51st, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Urban Farming. House Resolution 587 by Representative Gordon of the 163rd, Mitchell of the 88th, Hawley of the 111th, Schofield of the 60th, McLaren of the 51st, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Tax Credit for Post-Production Expenditures. House Resolution 588 by Representative Newton of the 123rd, Hatchett of the 150th, England of the 116th, Jones of the 47th, Bentley of the 139th, and others. Resolution urging the Georgia Department of Public Health to review maternal deaths in the state, to develop strategies for the prevention of maternal deaths in the state. House Resolution 589 by Representative Newton of the 123rd, Hatchett of the 150th, England of the 116th, Jones of the 47th, Bentley of the 139th, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Maternal Mortality. House Resolution 590 by Representative Bennett of the 94th, Cooper of the 43rd, Dreyer of the 59th, Hawkins of the 27th, Hutchinson of the 107th, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Georgia's barrier to access to adequate health care. House Resolution 591 by Representative Smith of the 133rd, Corbett of the 174th, Burns of the 159th, McCall of the 33rd, Smyrie of the 135th, and others. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Workforce Housing. House Resolution 592 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Smith of the 134th, Hatchett of the 150th, Lott of the 122nd. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Health Care Reimbursement. House Resolution 643 by Representative Collins of the 68th. Resolution honoring the Old Guard and dedicating an intersection in their memory. House Resolution 644 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Health Care Reimbursement. Through second readers.
Reports of standing committees. The clerk will read.
Representative Jan Tankersley, the 160th District Chairman of the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under consideration the following bills of the House. To instruct me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 631 do pass. House Bill 662. 632 do pass. House Bill 633 do pass. House Bill 637 do pass. House Bill 640 do pass. House Bill 635 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Jan Tankersley, the 160th District Chairman. Representative Bill Hitchens, the 161st District Chairman of the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security has had under consideration the following bills of the Senate. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 6, do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Bill Hitchens of the 161st District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Where's my gavel? We are now going on to the local calendar. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. One bill on the local calendar relates to homestead exemption and requires a recorded 2/3 roll call vote for passage. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 631 by Representative Holmes, the 129th, Butts County. House Bill 632 by Representative Jaspers, the 11th, Pickens County. House Bill 633 by Representative Williamson, in the 115th, City of Monroe. House Bill 637 by Representative Hawkins, of the 27th, City of Lula. House Bill 640 by Representative Corbett, of the 174th, Ware County. House Bill 635 by Representative Cannon, of the 58th, City of Atlanta.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of the bills on the local calendar. The ayes are 156, the nays are 2. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. On Friday, March 22nd, the House passed House Bill 599. The gentleman from the 132nd District, the minority leader of the House, served notice at that time of a motion to reconsider the action of the House in giving House Bill 599 the requisite majority. Now is the time for the gentleman to pursue the motion if he so desires. What purpose does Minority Leader Trammell rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I would move pursuant to Rule 143 that the House reconsider its action on House Bill 599.
The Minority Leader has moved that the House reconsider its action in giving House Bill 599 a requisite majority. On the gentleman's. Okay, let me restate the motion again. We are reconsidering the action for failing to give House Bill 599 the requisite majority. All right, we're now taking up the motion for reconsideration. On the gentleman's motion that the House reconsider its action in failing to give House Bill 599 a requisite majority, all those in favor of reconsideration will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion that the House reconsider its action in failing to give House Bill 599 a requisite majority, the ayes are 150, the nays are 11, and this House has reconsidered its action. The bill will now go back on the local calendar. What purpose does Chairman Tankersley rise?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a motion to immediately transfer all the bills on the local calendar to the Senate today.
The lady has moved for immediate transmittal of all bills on the local calendar that was approved just a moment ago. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, and the motion is granted, and the bills are on their way across the hall. We're going on now to morning orders. And given that we're in the final days, chair is going to limit morning orders to 1 minute each today. The chair recognizes for a morning order Representative Hutchinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Today's Adoptive Child of the Day is Jakia. She is a 16-year-old, thoughtful teenager who aspires to be a beautician and a business owner. She enjoys dancing, listening to music, and a variety of music. She likes figuring out how to do things on her own, and she wants a family to give her the attention that she deserves. So let's meet Jakia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Chairman Green for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have in the gallery this morning some of the members of the boys basketball team from Calhoun County, and they are our new GHSA 1A state basketball champions, and they are here in the Capitol today, and I would appreciate each and every one of you to recognize these individuals. I don't know where the other group, the rest of them are, but give them a warm house welcome to the state capitol. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Cannon for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning I rise to bring information from the Center for Reproductive Health Research at Emory Rollins School of Public Health. It's about crisis pregnancy centers. They are organizations that provide pregnancy counseling for free. They also provide free pregnancy tests and sometimes free ultrasounds. Most are not affiliated with health facilities, and Georgia currently provides $2 million to them. What we know is that including them in our opportunities to address maternal mortality and HIV would be a great idea. We know that although they are not working in medical facilities, sometimes their volunteers do wear white coats and do see women in exam rooms. Recent studies have shown that examining the Crisis Pregnancy Center websites in Georgia has misleading information about consistent condom use as well as HIV. I just want to urge our members about that. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes Representative Bazemore for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I am so excited that the Lord allows us a choice every single day. And I just ask that you allow others a choice.
Chair recognizes Chairman Lynn Smith for a morning order.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. So I have a good news morning order. 30 years ago, in 1989, the then Coweta County School Superintendent, Mr. Bobby Welch, asked me to be the organizing chair for a new organization called Georgia Youth Science and Technology Centers, GYSTC, the original STEM. GYSTC develops STEM curricula that meet state guidelines while incorporating new technology, new discoveries, and teaching methods into lessons to motivate and excite students. So, if you have a grade school child who is excited about math and science, please thank the teacher and then give a nod to GYSTC. Please join me in giving a shout out to these visionaries: Mr. Don Cargill, GYSTC founder; Mr. Bobby Welch of Coweta County, first school superintendent to embrace the concept; Ms. Kathy Wright, first regional GYSTC coordinator; Ms. Betsy Green, the now present organizer. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Robert Dickey for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and members of the members of this House. I've got a very special group in the gallery I wanted to recognize from Crawford County, our Crawford County Youth Leadership Group, and they're there. And I really want to appreciate Jennifer Morton with Flint Energies, the Youth Leadership Coordinator, Brent Lowe, our Crawford County School Superintendent, and Patty Temple, our Chamber Director. They're doing a great job with these young people in our high schools. So thank y'all for being at your capital, and thank you for what you do.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader of the House to introduce the Doctor of the Day.
Good morning, colleagues. It's my pleasure today, along with Representative Brian Prince, to bring you the Doctor of the Day. Dr. Charles Howell received his undergraduate degree from Valdosta State and his medical degree from Medical College of Georgia, Augusta University these days. Where he also completed his general surgery residency. And he also was instrumental in our colleague getting his degree and training in medical emergency room training from Augusta, Representative Dr. Newton. So we appreciate that, and I'm sure it was a tough training, but thanks for pulling him through. Dr. Howell served as the Surgeon-in-Chief of the Children's Hospital of Georgia from its opening in 1998 until 6 months ago. Dr. Howell is transitioning in his career now. He is now working part-time as a pediatric surgeon and part-time in philanthropy and development. He is an active member of the Children's Advisory Board, and his wife Debbie is sitting over here. They met while he was a resident at the Children's Hospital and doing his residency there. If we give her a hand. Now, as we all know, the Children's Hospital of Georgia is our teaching hospital. The work that is done at that hospital for the children of this state is available to all Georgians. We certainly appreciate the work they do, and we appreciate the leadership that Dr. Howell has provided for the Children's Hospital over the years. and we appreciate him and know that we will continue to support him and his mission as we move forward. Dr. Howell.
Thank you very much. Honorable John Burns and Brian Prince, Dr. Newton, Mr. Howard, Mr. Speaker, legislators and guests. It is my pleasure to serve as Doctor of the Day at this great state of Georgia. I grew up on a tobacco farm in South Georgia and went to college in Valdosta. I went to medical school in Augusta, which was the smartest thing I ever did. I trained in pediatric surgery in Philadelphia and had the opportunity to stay there, but I decided to come back to this great state. For the past 20 years, I have run the Children's Hospital of Georgia Surgery Department. I've operated on children from every county in the state of Georgia. I've done some 15,000 operations on kids who actually needed surgery. I retired a few months ago after 41 years, but I was rehired to help run the Department of Surgery, the Children's Hospital, and to maintain my outreach clinics in Albany and Valdosta. I do believe in philanthropy. I do believe in giving. And I work very hard to increase the endowments of the medical school and the charitable contributions to the Children's Hospital. We have a great medical school, and our graduates are sought by every major medical center in the United States. It is our challenge to keep our physicians and our graduates in this state, particularly in primary care, pediatrics, OBGYN, and surgery. The Medical College of Georgia is a very special place, and we continue to grow and to prosper. We at MCG at Augusta University sincerely appreciate the support that you as legislators have given us. I would like to especially thank Representative John Burns. He's been a great friend and a great help. I would also remind you that Governor Miller, Speaker of the House Tom Murphy, his aide Bobby Dwelly, and you guys appropriated the money for funding the Children's Hospital of Georgia some 20 years ago, and we continue to grow. We thank you for your support from Augusta. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Good to have you with us.
It's my pleasure.
Good job.
House will be in order. We're about to recognize some very distinguished guests that are with us. I'd ask the clerk to read the caption to House Resolution 523.
House Resolution 523 by Representative Evans, the 83rd. A resolution honoring the life and memory of Officer Edgar Isidro Flores and for other purposes.
I would ask all House members that are in the chamber to please take your seats. Chair recognizes Representative Becky Evans for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, it is my privilege and honor to honor the life and memory of Officer Edgar Isidro Flores. Please help me welcome his mother, Laura A. Flores, father, Isidro Flores Saucedo, brother, Alexis, and fiance, Lizandra Mora. Please also help me welcome Chief of Police James Conroy, Major Jerry Lewis, and Lieutenant Eric Heimer. Officer Edgar Isidro Flores was born December 17, 1993 in Nogales, Mexico. He became a naturalized citizen in 1997. He grew up in the northeast town of Baldwin and attended schools in Habersham County. He was a person who had a passion for life and service. He was an avid outdoorsman, enjoying fishing and hiking with Alexis and Liz. He was a dedicated student, taking all honors classes in high school, eventually graduating magna cum laude in 2016 from University of North Georgia with a BA in criminal justice. He was a member of St. Mark's Catholic Church in Clarksville and a respected coach of youth soccer. One of his major goals and ambitions was to attend the police academy and work in forensic science. He graduated from the police academy on November 4th, 2017, and won the Marksmanship Award and Academic Award. He was of a special class, of a class of 4 recruits. They were known as the Fantastic Four and developed a genuine bond for one another. Upon graduating from the police academy, he looked forward to becoming a police officer because he wanted experience on the road helping people. He was hired by DeKalb Police Department on May 8, 2017. On December 13, 2018, in DeKalb County, Georgia, Officer Flores conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle for a tag violation at Candler Road and Tilson Road. The driver fled on foot across a busy street behind building. Officer Flores pursued him, but once catching up with him, the driver produced a handgun, shooting the officer multiple times. Officer Flores was transported to Grady Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. Officer Flores died in the line of duty. He died a hero to his family, community, and to his fellow brothers and sisters in blue. A hero who, through his undeniable bravery, made the greatest sacrifice that a police officer can make. The County of DeKalb and the state of Georgia owe him and our family our greatest gratitude. I'd like to invite Alexis to come, the brother, to say a few words.
Thank you guys for coming out. He would have really appreciated this. Like, I would never think I'll be standing up here talking to you guys. He would have really appreciated this. Thank you guys.
clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 41.
House Resolution 41 by Representative Stovall, the 74th, Bernal, the 77th, Scott, the 76th, Jones, the 53rd, and Douglas, the 78th. A resolution commending and congratulating Maggie Katie Brown Kidd, and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Stovall for for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. It's still Women's Month. Today we're in the presence of history, wisdom, and celebrity status, all at the same time. And that is under none other than Mrs. Maggie Katie Brown Kidd. I'm honored and humbled to present her as my constituent to you. How many of us can say we have met a 114-year-old person? Mrs. Kidd is the oldest living Georgian. She's the oldest living African American in the United States and the 10th oldest living person in the world, according to Baylor College of Medicine Huffington Center on Aging. She was born in Oglethorpe County in Georgia on December the 8th, 1904. We can only imagine the things she has seen and heard. God has truly blessed her and her family. I wish Mrs. Kidd would reveal some of those secrets for longevity. She's joined today by her daughter, Rosalind Powell, her son-in-law, Robert Powell, her grandson, Thomas Kidd, and two family members, Jamie Carlington and Taylor Carlington. Members, will you please help me to welcome Mrs. Maggie Katie Brown Kidd, 114 years old. And so Mrs. Kidd, she won't be bringing any remarks today, but we're just so excited to be able to have her here among us, and it's truly a blessing and history making in the works here in the state of Georgia. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What an amazing story. Ms. Kidd was born when Theodore Roosevelt was president. Now we have another one from New York in the White House. The clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 627.
House Resolution 627 by Representative Glanton of the 75th, Douglas 78th, Bernal the 77th, Bazemore the 63rd, Schofield the 60th, and others, A resolution commending the Jonesboro High School mock trial team for winning its 9th state championship and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Mike Glanton for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the House. This morning, joined by my colleagues on the Clayton County Legislative Delegation, we are here this morning to recognize, to honor, and to celebrate with the mock trial team from Jonesboro High School, Clayton County Public Schools. Just to tell you a little bit about the high school before I introduce the leader of this group, the teacher, Ms. Anna Cox, I would like to tell you that this Jonesboro High School has won the state championship mock trial for 10 years since 1988. I will also tell you that they are two-time national champions, winning both in 2007 and again in 2008. I will tell you that they will participate in the national championships in Athens, Georgia. Looks like we got home field advantage this time, Mr. Speaker. In Athens, Georgia in May, so please look out for them. Before I introduce Ms. Anna Cox, would you please help me welcome in the gallery the other members of the team of the Jonesboro Mock Trial High School team. State champions 2019. Thank you so much, Ms. Cox.
Thank you, Representative Glanton. Thank you, Speaker Ralston, for inviting us here today. We appreciate you guys, plus our Clayton County delegation. I have some of our members up here with us. We have Zion Walker, Isabel Rabideau, Daniela Calix, and Miss Ashley Watson, some of our four-year starters on the mock trial team. We are pleased to represent the state of Georgia in May, and we are excited about our home field advantage in Athens. Thank you, everyone.
Chair recognizes Representatives Momtahan, Representative Gravely, and Representative Gullett for a morning order, and Representative Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We wanted to come out today and just commend some folks from back home. These are some star athletes and star coaches. We want to commend Coach Ryan Dyer and the North Paulding County High School boys basketball team for winning the 2019 All-County State Championship. Commend Coach Scott Green of the North Paulding girls basketball team for winning Coach of the Year, All-County Awards for the 2018-2019 season. And recognize Jacob Harris for his outstanding accomplishments in the sport of basketball. Thank y'all so much for coming, and to further commend some folks.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the Chamber. I would ask that our Paulding County School Board and the students and teachers and coaches rise as we recognize them. I specifically want to recognize Ariel Owens, a freshman at Hiram High School. She was recognized as the newcomer of the year. This is an outstanding freshman basketball player. Ariel averaged 2 points and 5 rebounds for Hiram High School Hornets. We also want to commend head coach Michael Caldwell and assistant coach Patrice Bryant for their outstanding achievements. We are so proud of these folks here in Paulding County. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. And I have a couple of players too, just to recognize. Recognizing Imani Smith for her outstanding accomplishments in the sport of basketball. She's a resident of Hiram, Georgia. Imani is a sophomore at Hiram High School, and Imani was recognized as the Player of the Year All-County for Paulding County. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to recognize John Cook. He's a senior at Paulding County High School and was recognized as the Newcomer of the Year All-County for Paulding County High School, as well as head coach Kevin Hammett. Thank you guys for being here.
House will come to order. Ask all members to please take their seats that are inside the chamber, and the clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 44.
House Resolution 44 by Representative Rhodes, the 120th, Ralston the 7th, Hatchett to the 150th, Powell the 171st, and Burns to the 159th. A resolution recognizing and commending the 2018 Atlanta Braves and the team's award-winning players and manager, and for other purposes.
I hope Chairman Rhodes don't mind, but I just have to say there's no time of year like opening day of baseball season. And Thursday the Braves continue building another dynasty, and we're looking for great things, and we're excited about the season starting, and we're getting out of here so we can come watch baseball, okay? Chair recognizes Chairman Trey Rhodes for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, it was about this time last year, March 29th, when the Speaker came over the mic and said it happened. And none of us knew what happened, but the Braves had just won the first game of the year in the bottom of the ninth on a walk-off home run. And that kind of described how the season went for the Braves. This was a young team. They were so fun to watch. They knew how to win, and they won a bunch of games at the end and in exciting fashion. And we just wanted to come here today to honor them and say thank you. But I have a resolution up here, and I just want to mention a few of the accolades that the Braves had this year with the team. We had 4 all-star players: Nick Markakis, Mike Folty-Nevitz, Ozzie Albies, Freddie Freeman, and we also had 3 Gold Glove winners: Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, and Ender Inciarte. We also had the 2018 National League Silver Slugger, Nick Markakis. We had the 2018 National League Defensive Player of the Year, Freddie Freeman. We had the 2018 National Comeback Player of the Year in pitcher Johnny Venters. And the Braves are the home of the 2018 National League Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year, Ronald Acuna Jr. And last but not least, the man we have with us here today, we had the 2018 National League Manager of the Year, Brian Snitker. But I would like to recognize the following people over here. We have Manager Brian Snitker. We have Terry McGuirk, Derek Schiller, Mike Plant, Greg Heller, and Beth Marshall is back over here in the corner. And I just wanted to say, I mentioned this to Coach Schnitt in the back. Is it okay if I call you that? That's what they say on TV. So I just said, listen, we have, I know we were ahead of the curve a little bit with the momentum and the games that we won last year. So I just wanted to let him know that he has set the bar high, so we don't want any slide back. But thanks for coming.
No, I appreciate you having us. Thank
you.
Yes,
Please.
please.
You want to say a word?
It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you all very much. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. I like the chops. We're excited about 2019. We're here for 2018, which was a remarkable season. We had a lot of young, energetic, talented players. We're going to be even younger, more energetic, and more talented this year. We're really excited about where we're going with the Atlanta Braves. It's been a hard fight to get here. It's a grind. These guys are really talented, enthusiastic, emotional, fun guys to watch. We welcome everybody to come out. I said before, we just opened our new Northport facility, spring training site. If you haven't got your spring training reservations for next year, you definitely need to do that and come see our new home, because it's in a spectacular new training facility. But we're really excited about getting going on Thursday. Yes, you just never know what's going to happen in this game. That's why we're playing the games. I think we ticked a lot of people off last year. They got really good in our division, but we feel like we're a year older, we're a year wiser, and we're really good too. So we're very excited about 2019. Look forward to seeing all of you out there supporting. We really appreciate the support. That Braves country is something that I told these guys, until you experience it, you don't really know what it is, and it's a really outstanding thing. So we thank you all, appreciate you having us here, and very honored to be here, and thank you. Thank you so much.
We are now going on to the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to House Resolution 52.
House Resolution 52 by Representative Corbett of the 174th and others, encouraging all schools, local education agencies, and the state educational agency to recognize that dyslexia has a profound educational impact that must be addressed. This resolution has been referred to the Committee on Education. That committee recommends that this resolution be adopted.
Chair recognizes Chairman Corbett to present the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. I bring before you House Resolution 52, and basically this is just encouraging all school and state agencies to recognize dyslexia and that we need to address it. Like I told them in the rules this morning, I got involved with dyslexia a couple years ago. Got a constituent whose son was having some issues, had him tested. Turned out he was dyslexic, got him the proper help that he needed, and now he's all A honor roll, and I get a text or a picture every semester. He's all A honor roll and top of the class in reading, and I encourage everybody to vote for this resolution, and appreciate your support. Thank you.
You have no questions. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this resolution now be adopted? All those in favor of the adoption of House Resolution 52 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the adoption of House Resolution 52. The ayes are 155, the nays are 0. This resolution, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 48.
Senate Bill 48 by Senator Martin of the 9th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Brass of the 28th, Utterman of the 48th, 45th, and others, be entitled an act to amend Title 20, the Fiscal Code of Georgia, annotated relating to education, so as to provide for identification and support for students in pre-kindergarten through second grade with dyslexia. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Harrell to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, Senate Bill 48 recognizes the intervention with young people at kindergarten through third grade especially to provide some testing for dyslexia. As we all know, the earlier we can identify various learning issues, the better our opportunities to make sure that student has the tools and the instruction that they need to succeed. Students with dyslexia are intelligent, bright young people and can do exceptionally well, especially when the issue is diagnosed earlier. This bill does a couple of things. Number one, it sets out that the Department of Education will issue a handbook with regard to dyslexia and diagnosing it. Secondly, it will establish pilot programs in 3 different school systems over the next 3 years. It asks the Professional Standards Commission to develop some training and coursework for our educators to help them identify dyslexia at a young age. And then all these testing tools, handbook and so forth are subject to our annual appropriations, so there's no mandated funding in there separate from the appropriation process. 10 to 20% of young people at one time or another are diagnosed with some form of dyslexia, and as we've seen with other issues with our children, the earlier we diagnose, the better they can put them on a path for a successful future and career. Mr. Speaker, with that, I would be glad to yield for questions.
You have some questions if you care to yield.
Yes, sir, I'd be glad to.
Chair recognizes Chairman Lynn Smith to your right for a question.
Thank you. I'm directly in front of you by the
Yes,
back
ma'am.
doors. Gentlemen, yield.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it not true that I wish to thank you for bringing this important issue to the attention of the General Assembly?
Thank you.
Gentlemen, further yield.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you also for mentioning that there are several other categories that fall under dyslexia. Is it not true?
Yes, ma'am, that's true.
One of which is dysgraphia. So I hope to encourage all of our teachers to take the situation seriously. Again, thank you.
Thank you, and that's true. These other conditions are identified in the measure and will help bring attention to them as well. So thank you so much.
Chair recognizes the Chairman of the House Education Committee, Chairman Jaspers, to your right for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir, I do.
Thank you. Is it not true that this bill will put Georgia in the right place where it needs to be, in a leadership position in dealing with dyslexia, and help Georgians, help our children become better learners and better outcomes throughout their educational experience?
Yes, sir, I believe it will. And these are bright young people. They just learn a slightly different manner in which others do. And when we identify that early and put them on the right path, they have every opportunity to succeed as any other child would. Mr. Speaker, with that, I would ask for your favorable consideration of Senate Bill 48, and I'll yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. We have a couple of other members that wish to be heard on the bill. Chair recognizes Representative Sandra Scott to speak to the bill.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank Senator Harrell for bringing this bill on dyslexia. Dyslexia is a learning disability that often goes unnoticed in children. With testing children that are having difficulties in decoding and reading fluencies in grades K through 2 for dyslexia will be a win for the students. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Representative Doreen Carter to speak to the bill.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representative Harrell, for presenting this bill in the House. I want to encourage all of the members to support this bill. A mother is very difficult when you see your bright, energetic, full of life child struggling because you either don't have the resources or you don't have the tools. And I'm that mother. My 21-year-old was diagnosed with dyslexia in the 2nd or 3rd grade a few years ago. And then we were not allowed to use the term dyslexia in the school system, which means he did not get the proper services. Are there tools and resources out there? Absolutely. We looked into everything. We did private tutoring. We even looked at Linda Mood Bell, but we would have had to take him out of school and put him in this special school that really we didn't have the budget for. So we struggled, and instead of him having teachers and administrators that understood how to teach children who process differently, they put him in special education. Now, he was in a smaller classroom. He did get some one-on-one assistance, but he still struggled. Now today, he's thriving. He's finished his associate's degree. He's doing some filming. He's doing some director and writing work. But how much more could he have done had he had the tools or his teachers in his public school been trained to teach students who have dyslexia? They don't necessarily need special education. They needed teachers who had been trained on how to teach children who process differently. But let me give you something else to think about. In the state of Georgia, in our ESSA plan, we have decided that children should read proficiently by 3rd grade. So now let's go backwards. If a teacher has the tools to teach children that have dyslexia in kindergarten, and then they're reading and they're growing, by third grade, what are they doing? They are reading proficiently. Let me tell you what else happens. When children read proficiently and we have more children in the third grade that are reading, we might build less jails. So let's support and give resources and the training necessary to our teachers, and let's redirect that funding and that we're building jails and to building our children. Thank you. I ask you to vote favorably. I yield the well.
Lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 48 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 48. The ayes are 161, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 60.
Senate Bill 60 by Senator Martin of the 9th, Huffstetler of the 52nd, Albers of the 56th, Miller of the 49th, and others, be titled an act to amend Part 15 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated, relating to miscellaneous provisions under the Quality Basic Education Act. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Representative Bonnie Rich to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, today I rise to bring to you Senate Bill 60, known as the Jeremy Nelson and Nick Blakely Sudden Cardiac Arrest Prevention Act. In August of 2017, Nick Blakely, a highly decorated high school running back and safety from Lawrenceville, Gwinnett County, collapsed after complaining of not feeling well at a Stetson College football practice. He was a redshirt freshman linebacker and in seemingly perfect physical health. He had a promising college career ahead of him and had a way of brightening every room he walked into. His sweet mother is here today in the gallery. In January of 2013, Jeremy Nelson, a promising middle school forward from Beaufort, Georgia, collapsed on the bench during a Gwinnett Basketball League All-Star game. Jeremy was a kind young man and, like Nick, had a magnetic personality that drew people to him. He was 12 years old and had his whole life ahead of him. Sadly, both boys left this world far too soon. My hope today is that we can help other parents, family members, coaches, and peers not have to go through this pain, the pain that those who knew both of these young men had to experience. We can do this through better training of warning signs of sudden cardiac arrest for coaches, parents, and participants. In addition, we can set up protocols similar to the way that we set up concussion protocols a few years ago to make sure that young athletes who show these symptoms get the correct medical care that they need before being cleared to return to action on the court or the field. Senate Bill 60 sets up parameters for this. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta wanted me to let you know that they fully support this bill as well, and I urge for all of you to vote for this bill. If there are no questions, I will yield the well.
You have no questions. Lady has yielded the well. The chair recognizes Representative McLeod to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Speaker Ralston. And big up to everybody, all my representatives, and to the people in the gallery. I wanted to speak on this bill because Michelle Fields Wilson is a constituent of mine and a woman who loves her son more than anything else. And in her pain, she wanted to make sure that she helped other mothers to not go through this pain. I wish I could take away her pain, but I can't. But what she's done with this bill is to make sure that schools at least twice a year will give information on signs of cardiac arrest. And I am myself an athlete, and I hope that everyone understands that athletes put a lot on their bodies, and sometimes they push themselves too much. But when you get to that point where you need to stop, it needs to be acknowledged. So I ask for your favorable vote on this bill, and I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on Senate Bill 60? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 60 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 60. The ayes are 163, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 66.
Senate Bill 66 by Senator Gooch, the 51st, Ginnah the 47th, Lucas the 26th, Dugan the 30th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to local government so as to enact the Streaming Wireless Facilities and Antennas Act. This bill having referred to the Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chair recognizes the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, Chairman Harrell, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, Senate Bill 66 is identical in every fashion to House Bill 184 that we passed earlier this session, 170-1. As you recall, it's a 27-page bill. I gave an impassioned hour-and-a-half presentation on it, and I would be glad to do that again. Senate Bill 66 passed the Senate 53-0. This is the bill that has the support of GMA, ACCG, and the various telecom providers to deploy the next generation of small cell and 5G technology throughout Georgia. Mr. Speaker, I would be glad to stand for any questions. Again, not a comma, not a period has been changed.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you, sir.
We have a member that wishes to be heard on the bill, and the chair recognizes Chairman Chuck Martin to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is late in this session, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. This bill, as the gentleman said, Chairman Harrell said, passed our group. I voted for it early in this year as well, and I asked the question of Chairman Harrell, will we get some more answers? And we got some of those, and I appreciate Chairman Harrell in particular working with me and Chairman Gooch over in the Senate. What I want to bring to the body's attention is we do have, and it was testified in committee, that the industry worked with our municipal association and our ACCG, the Association of County Commissioners, on this bill, and we're supposed to take it 25 or 27 pages. And I just want to stand today. I've, for a number of years down here, represented several cities in North Fulton, one in particular. This year, Alpharetta has issues with this bill that I've been trying to get addressed. Asked the question several times in committee, and we didn't get the answer. I'm not sure the bill's exactly right. I think there's probably going to be changes. There always are. But I wanted to stand today and just talk to the process, that just because ACCG and GMA are okay with the bill, that it's okay to question if you're a member of this body on behalf of your constituents. So I stand today and question some of the definitions in the bill, because for 2.5 hours right before we went to committee, we asked and we never found that out. I am assured by the author in the Senate and Chairman Harrell that if there's some changes that need to be made, that we'll make those. But I just, as a body representing almost 11 million Georgians, I just had to stand here today and tell you that when a city sends, its residents send you down to the Capitol, that you feel like you have, regardless of the amount of hours that went into the bill, that you feel like you need to have the questions. So I'm going to take the Chairman Gooch on his word that electrical poles in design areas within the city of Alpharetta are subject to the control and design requirements by the city of Alpharetta, although I'm not sure this bill tells me that they are. So I just wanted to sound that, Mr. Speaker, that I hope we're not taking away, by voting for this bill, our design requirements that our cities have worked so hard for. And while I appreciate the members at ACCG and GMA, I trust my city. I trust the 7 people that were elected by their citizens to do the design standards that are what the citizens of Alpharetta wanted. And if this bill takes that away from them, I'm going to take everybody on their word that we will come back and fix that in 2020. Because if we talk about local control and we take it away, we're really headed in 2 directions. Mr. Speaker, thank you for allowing me the opportunity. I yield the well.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 66 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 66. The ayes are 159, the nays are 3. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 225.
Senate Bill 225 by Senator Walker, the 20th, Kirk of the 13th, Miller of the 49th, Strickland of the 17th, and others. To be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating the general provisions regarding the Juvenile Code so as to bring such provisions in conformity with the Federal Social Security Act and the Family First Prevention Services Act. This bill having referred to the Committee on Juvenile Justice, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Juvenile Justice Committee, Chairman Ballinger, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just kind of briefly walk you through this. In 2018, the federal government passed the Families First Act, and this brings the state into conformity. Our state is heavily reliant upon federal funds to fund our child welfare here in the state. So this bill basically creates the qualified treatment centers that are required. Right now we have group homes, and basically we're going to have to transition a lot of those to qualified treatment centers. That's in sections 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The Indian Child Welfare Act, to bring the state into conformity with that, is in sections 2 and 8. Immunity for complying with the mandated reporter statute is contained in section 9. Providing information to children that have been in our foster care system is in section 10. And clarifies decision-making authority to comply with federal regulations is in section 11. And I'll be more than happy to yield to any questions.
You do not have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I urge your favorable consideration.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 225 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 225. The ayes are 158, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair wants to recognize on the floor of the House a distinguished former member of this body. He was Majority Caucus Whip, former state representative, now judge on the Georgia Court of Appeals, Judge Christian Coomer. He's over there working really hard and had to come over here and take a break. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 110.
Senate Bill 110 by Senator Stone of the 23rd, Gooch of the 51st, Dugan of the 30th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to courts so as to establish a statewide business court pursuant to the Constitution of the state. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman F. Stration to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring to you today Senate Bill 110. This is establishing the statewide business court in Georgia. You'll recall that on March 5th, we considered House Bill 239. This was the House version. It passed 156 to 8 in this body. And what we've done here is we put the House language onto the Senate bill. There are two minor changes. The first is that we have created a tolling statute so that if a case is pending in business court, you won't lose the statute of limitations if for some reason it's kicked back to state court. The second is we've indexed the business court clerk's salary to the Court of Appeals clerk's salary. And then finally, also just technical language at the beginning of the bill, we said any existing business court shall be able to continue to exist. This bill doesn't require that an existing court go away. Be happy to answer any questions.
You have no questions?
I yield the will.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? We have the chair's time. So we've ordered the previous question. Chair recognizes Chairman Fleming for the chairman's time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, as Chairman Efstration said, you have in front of you now the House version of the Business Court Bill, which was approved by our voters in a constitutional amendment in the last election. And I have no doubt, just like last time, you will want to overwhelmingly approve that because I believe in this instance, as often does happen, the House version is better than the Senate's version. But nonetheless, I did want to rise and say thank you to Chairman Efstration for the tremendous amount of work that over a 2 or 3 year period he has put into this. As we all know, we are proud in Georgia to be the #1 state in the nation to do business. This legislation is on the cutting edge for us to make sure that we have a court system in the state that is very open to attracting business to come here, and that is what this bill accomplishes. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your prior support, and I would ask you again to support this bill today. I yield the will.
The previous question has been ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 110. The ayes are 155, the nays are 10. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 216.
Senate Bill 216 by Senator Mullis, the 53rd to be titled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating ad valorem taxation of property, so as to allow local governments to accept prepayments of ad valorem taxes. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Lumsden to present the bill.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, I bring to you Senate Bill 216 by Senator Mullis, a bill dealing with the ad valorem property tax collection and property tax sales. This is a permissive bill that allows two things. First, it permits any taxpayer to enter into an agreement with a local government and the tax commissioner to prepay ad valorem taxes if the taxpayer, the tax commissioner, and the local government agree to do so. The second provision of the bill deals with property tax sales. Most of these sales are traditionally held on the courthouse steps and due to inclement weather and other outside distractions often interfere with the conduct of the sale. This would simply permit a sale to be held in the tax commissioner or tax collector's office or other locations as may be identified in the notice, provided proper notice is posted in a conspicuous place in the courthouse. So all the bill does, two simple things. Be glad to answer any questions. If not, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 216 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of Senate Bill 216, the ayes are 168, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 183.
Senate Bill 183 by Senator Huffstetler to the 52nd to be titled an act to amend Chapter 2, Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to state administration and enforcement of revenue and taxation, so as to provide that each person files or is required to file a Form 1099-K with the Internal Revenue Service shall also electronically file a copy of each such form to the State Revenue Commissioner. This bill having referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Representative Fry to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I bring to you Senate Bill 183. Basically, this is a bill we passed, a very similar version out of this body a couple of years ago. It didn't get through the Senate, and miraculously, they passed it back over to us this year. This is a department bill from the Department of Revenue that just wants folks to be able to, if you file a 1099-K, which is basically a credit card transaction income statement with the feds, that you ought to be required to do it with the state as well. And it lays out a fee structure for late filing. And if there's any questions, I'll yield for questions if there is any.
You have no questions?
Great, and I hope everybody votes for this. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I yield
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 183. The ayes are 144, the nays are 26. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Senate Bill 132 was on the rules calendar for last Thursday and it was postponed to the next legislative day and then was postponed again on Friday until the next legislative day. The clerk will now read the caption to Senate Bill 132.
Senate Bill 132 by Senator Harbin of the 16th, Jones of the 25th, and Walker of the 20th being titled an act to amend Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance so as to provide for modernization and updates. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Insurance Committee, Chairman Smith, to present the bill.
I probably should explain why this thing was delayed for 3 days, but we'll just get on with the bill. Senate Bill 132 is a continuation of another bill that we had earlier, House Bill 99. This bill, all it is a rewrite of the insurance code. First section, we divide the section into 3 different parts, and this is the first section. I started these over in the Senate so they'd have something good to work with, but the goal was just to update, modernize, and make corrections to the insurance code. Mr. Speaker, I have no questions. I'll yield the well.
You have no questions? Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 132 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of Senate Bill 132, the ayes are 169, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Senate Bill 133 was on the rules calendar last week and was postponed twice to the next legislative day, and it is now called. The clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 133.
Senate Bill 133 by Senator Harbin of the 16th, Jones of the 25th, Walker of the 20th, being titled an act to amend Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance so as to provide for modernization and updates. This bill having referred to the Committee on Insurance, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Chairman Smith to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the third and final section of the update of the insurance code. It's just like the last bill you voted on. Does an improvement on citation, style, punctuation. Last time this was done was in 1982. Ask for your favorable consideration.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 133 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 133. The ayes are 171, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, Chairman England, for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House disagree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 31. Ladies and gentlemen, this will get us started on the conference committee procedure.
The gentleman has moved that this House disagree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 31. Is there any objection? You've already explained it, haven't you? Is there any objection to the motion? Any objection? Chair hears none, and the House has disagreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 31. Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Rules Committee for an announcement.
It's wonderful to be loved. Rules Committee. The bad news is we will meet at 1:30. The good news is it will be to set the calendar for tomorrow, not a supplemental calendar for today. 1:30.
Chair recognizes Representative Dickerson for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Ladies' Women's Caucus will be meeting tomorrow. You got a notice on your desk, and it said today, March 26th, but it's meant for tomorrow at March 26th. Thank you.
House will be in recess until 1:45.